Now, going on to the culture part of the podcast, I have a couple interesting things coming on here. Now, interestingly enough, as you merge the topics of business and politics and culture, you seem to have more and more, it's hard to say. I would argue a couple of these belong in cultures because it really is, interesting enough, in the United States, more and more, only during election time, Americans actually get off their keister and examine policies from politicians and see what they're actually going to do. So without further ado, the first culture part, you have Vivek Ramaswamy response to a critical video gets 2.5 million views in 36 hours, which is astronomically successful. And we'll play a little bit of it right here. I spoke too soon. It's up to 2.6 million now. So it's about four and a half minutes. He addresses some of the critical comments that have been coming towards him. And I think it helps to elaborate on a couple of things he's saying.
Hey guys, we are continuing to surge in the race, and that means the knives are continuing to come out. So we're going to keep debunking the myths as they come up, because I think it's important to be transparent and address criticisms. That's part of what it means. If you can't handle the heat, you stay out of the kitchen. And I'm running for president of the United States, so we're going to address any of these criticisms as they come out. A couple of the favorites from the last couple of days. One is this funny, relatively old, hackneyed one that they're pulling back out, that I somehow made a lot of money off of some failed Alzheimer's drug. Wrong. Actually, you know what is true is I did develop a drug for Alzheimer's disease. And like 99.7% of drugs that have ever been tested for Alzheimer's, thousands of other drugs, mine was one of the many that also didn't work.
Also, one of the most risky things about pharmaceutical industry, it's one of the things where most of the things they make fail, and very few things actually get cleared by the FDA to be released to the public.
That's just a fact of life. If you're developing medicines, some of them aren't going to work. And in the area of Alzheimer's disease, almost none of them work. Now, the mythology is somehow that I made money off this failure. That's wrong. My company, Roivant, set up a subsidiary, Axovant, that Roivant could have sold shares in, that I could have sold shares in before that failure. We didn't. In fact, many people would call that honorable. That was extremely painful to me when that drug failed. So how did I make my money then? Well, it turns out that I worked on a number of other medicines, 5 of which are FDA approved today. One for prostate cancer, another for endometriosis and uterine fibroids, another for psoriasis, another for overactive bladder, another for a rare genetic condition in kids, where 20 kids a year are born with a genetic disease, where 100% of them die by the age of 3. And with treatment, a majority of those kids can live lives of a
Wait a minute, how many did he say?
year are born with a genetic disease,
Oh, wait,
or
sorry.
and uterine fibroids, another for psoriasis, another for overactive bladder, another for a rare genetic condition in kids, where 20 kids a year are born with a genetic disease, where 100% of them die by the age of 3. And with treatment, a majority of those kids can live lives of a normal duration.
So that's very admirable, but I wonder, I can't conceive, in that specific instance, I can't conceivably see how you make a profit on that. Unless unless the solution that they created was a derivative or they just tweaked a current drug a little bit to make it happen. But yeah, I don't know how to make a profit on 20. I guess it's per year, but still. That seems more of with the numbers right there, it seems more of a philanthropic or kind of doing out the goodness of your heart, because I don't know how you make a profit in that case.
I'm proud of those accomplishments. That was part of how I had success in the world of biotech. Yes, that is how you actually create value and make money without apologizing for it. And what I teach young people across this country is, you know what, you're going to go through hardship. Not everything you do is going to succeed. But hardship isn't the same thing as victimhood. Hardship is what teaches you who you are. That worked for me, and that's what's led me to success, not just with Roivant, which is a nearly $10 billion publicly traded company today, which is the one that I founded and built from scratch, but several other companies like Chapter and like Strive, other successful companies that I've founded since then as well. So I'll be happy to, take my entrepreneurial background and business background toe to toe with anybody else. I'm proud to have done that by the age of 38, and it's one of the experiences that'll allow me to succeed as chief executive of this country as the next president. Another lie that I've sort of been humored by floating around is this position that I'm somehow anti-Israel. That's just dead false and reflects the desperation of, frankly, some other candidates who feel like their fundraising might be lagging, and so they need to figure out how to attack me as a way to raise funds. That's what they seem to be doing. The fact of the matter is, our relationship with Israel will be stronger by the end of my first term than it ever has been. Actually, I was just talking about my company. Turns out one of the founding investors in my company was actually an Israeli firm. I've been to Israel many times. I have deep respect for Israel, and I think our friendship with Israel is going to continue to a higher level when I'm the U.S. president, because I'll treat it as a friendship, not as just a transactional client relationship. What does that mean? I'm going to lead Israel diplomatically into Abraham Accords 2.0. In my capacity as U.S. president, that'll be a great diplomatic accomplishment. Get Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, Indonesia into that pact. Further partner with Israel to make sure that Iran never ever becomes a nuclear powerhouse, never becomes nuclear armed. We got to make sure of that. But I also want to learn from Israel. Israel has great border policies, tough on crime policies, a strong national identity.
Their schools are also very safe because, guess what? They have armed presence at schools. In the United States, Israeli, or I was going to say Israeli owned, Israel Faith Community School or schools in the United States, they're well armed, so people don't mess with them. One of my favorite examples being where Ben Shapiro made a comment where, I'm not sure if it was his school growing up, it was a school that was a Jewish school. There was a white supremacist actually. He drove to that school. He was with a gun. He was going to do some harm. He saw this Israeli with, I believe it was a Uzi, another great invention from their country, and he drove away. And unfortunately, he went to a school that did not have proper armed guards, and he did some hellish, morally vacuous things. But absolutely, every school should have the same defense that they do in Israel. It's why they're so safe now. They saw an issue back in the day, they armed their teachers, and guess what? Those issues are no longer a thing.
Entity, a missile defense system that I would love to have in this country.
The Iron Dome is fascinating from a technological perspective and is one of their top defense mechanisms.
That's what friends do. They make each other strong, they learn from each other. That's what our friendship with Israel is going to look like. I'm going to have a good relationship with Bibi. I'll invite him to the White House in a way that Biden didn't have the courage to do. This is what it means to be a true friend. And no, I don't talk in the way that a standard establishment GOP politician does, reading from a super PAC provided binder. That's not how I roll. I speak authentically, but that's actually going to make for stronger friendships with our allies on the international stage. And more importantly of all, actually make us stronger as a country here at home. In case people forgot, that's actually the job of the U.S. president. So keep them coming. I know the knives are going to bring out some more attacks, and it's all right. We'll keep addressing them, having fun with it. Talk to you.
So, in terms of marketing and kind of a move on the political chessboard, brilliant because he got a lot of views. Literally 2.5 million views in 36 hours. That's ridiculously impressive. Now, it looks like the responses are mostly popular. You have someone saying, and then a couple of pejorative. Now, you have one person saying, why don't you run for a city council first? That got 9,584 views and 124 likes, which is about 1.35% like ratio. And actually had someone respond to that response saying, well, neither did Trump. And that person got 7,658 and 326 likes, given that ratio of 4.3%. So there's some people who had some more positive responses to that. Now, you also had someone by the name of Journey Across the Internet saying, this dude has, it's going to sound silly because it's typos, but, quote, this dude has answers for days, ha ha ha. Love that he just brushes it off and says, okay, guys, what else you got? LMFAO, this is goated, unquote. I got 11,700 views and 99 likes. So, not the best ratio, that's 0.84%. And another one said, Bradley said, thank you for addressing the rumors. Got 4,742 views and 19 likes. So 0.4% like ratio, not the best. But it seems like a lot of the people who are attracted to Vivek as a prospective presidential candidate are pretty happy with his response and coming out and addressing some of the rumors. Now, some of the more pejorative responses to this would be Mr. 68 Power Trot. He says, you're just another rich con man, blah, blah, blah. Now, he got 5,586 views and 177 likes. And a couple of people bringing religion in the comment section. Let's see. And a couple of puns being thrown at Ron DeSantis. Now, looks like Gishikita, parody count, get it. This one says, quote, a missile defense system I'd love to have in this country. 1, we're going to need it once Meatball Ron starts bombing Mexican cartels, and 2, Raytheon makes Iron Dome missiles, so we have half of it in this country already. Now that got 2,213 views and only 1 like. Now, we share a lot of defense technologies, especially with Israel. I'm actually surprised. Well, not really, because I mean, politicians in the United States don't really care about protecting our borders. But yeah, in terms of national security, we should definitely have something similar to the Iron Dome in the United States. And again, Raytheon is one of the most advanced technological manufacturers of defense capabilities on the planet, and they're headquartered, of course, in the United States. Perhaps they're best known for the Patriot missile, which is at the time breakthrough technology. And in terms of kind of you play Call of Duty and you like more nuanced weird tech, they made the Javelin missile, which was known for being a weird thing because the missile would pop out of the tube, go down, and then burst up, which sounded really cool. It was fascinating, and I believe they only cost the taxpayers about $44,600 per unit. So they're a pretty penny, but it's also the best on the market, so to say. So it's interesting. He's got, again, there's going to be an inherent bias because people who are following him usually are more attracted to him in terms of you usually follow people you like on Twitter, but it looks like an overwhelming majority of the responses were positive to that. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to keep coming out with these rebuttal videos and if they're popular, and we'll see what his approval rating goes from here and what the odds are of him actually becoming president, or as many speculate, the VP if Trump can navigate the legal field and get the Republican nomination. But I always say, time shall tell. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in again. Again, we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of September. Actually 4,000 if we really swing it. So I really appreciate you clicking that button. Also, taking the time to like and comment helps me out. Appreciate the feedback and insight you have with these topics. Love to hear about your experiences. Also, and lastly, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.